and the ones that load.
Wait, we like chopped liver, said he was coming.
When it's actually, I'll throw it again as a guess, if you have, you just write your name on the top.
Well, ones that load.
Wait, we like chopped liver, said he was coming. When it's actually, I'll throw it.
Good. Recording? All right. Welcome, everybody. I'll call this meeting to order. Tioga County IDA regular monthly board meeting for November 2024 is 4:32. And start with a roll call. John Ward, I am here. Tracy Manell.
Here.
Eric Knoll.
Here.
Mary Towns.
Here.
Brenda Evanic.
Here.
Marty Sauerbrei.
Here.
Kevin Gillette. Here. 100%. Yeah, everybody, very much. Thank you. Guests, we've got Brittany Woodburn and Casey Albertson from Economic Development Planning and Kate McNamee and Bob Farrell from Webb Lake Central School Districts here, and you have privilege of the floor.
I think that most of you were on the board last time I was here. And again, we're back to the same situation that we have been in now for a while with regard to pilots and how pilots come off of their agreements and then end up on tax rolls. I know that there was legislation that did make it to the governor's desk again and did not get signed. So that being the case, we're still in the same situation we have been. And we're trying to get out in front of it this time, and at least in a couple of years advance. This particular pilot is the Central New York Oil and Gas pilot, which is the largest one. And it affects our budget in terms of the tax cap and not this upcoming school year, which would be 25-26, but 26-27. So we got a couple of years to do something, but I wanted to at least, Corey and I and we talked to the board about this. The board is fully aware and informed and understands it. And we agreed that we would at least start the conversation with the IDA board and see what we might do to remedy this problem. So I don't know if there are clarification questions or if you want to go over it again. I did bring some information just from our long-term projection so you can see it. And I'll just pass that stuff out so you can
Take one down, pass it around.
yeah, I think I have them up, but-
99 pounds.
So. So as you can see here in the long range projection, and you really want to pay attention to the fourth column, the 26-27 school year, and you'll see that the tax levy shows a 19.38% levy increase. The reason that is because the tax cap formula and the way it works. Now, I provided that for you on the back, the way the formula actually works, but I'll give you the real gist of it in the rundown. The formula basically asks that you take your pilots from last year on one end of the formula, and then subtract your pilots from the next year on the other end of the formula. And then that is how the number in terms of the pilot gets back on the actual levy in terms of the cap. And it's really a mechanism of the formula that is the problem. And so when you look at this, Central New York Oil and Gas is like a $3 million pilot. And that would mean that we would have to raise the levy $3.1 million in order to collect it. Questions?
But that $3.1 million that is going back over your pilot is now going on to the tax roll.
from section 8 to section 1. Do I have that correct?
Yes.
And since
So
that's
that
the case,
should roll.
It's not real.
Yeah.
The 19% increase is not real,
Not real.
well,
but it looks real.
But it would be.
And you can't convince anybody that it's not real.
okay. Yes and no. So it goes on to section 1, right?
Yep.
But in order to get the levy to be at its full amount with that 3.1, we would have to successfully pass the budget at 19.3%. And that would be very, very difficult to do with the public, with lots of explanation.
Yeah.
And we certainly, we could make a decision like that, but it's a risk, a serious one.
And so we'd have to go without sports for a year so that everybody could get the.
Well, it's not, I mean, the other part of it is, right, like, I mean, my tax cap will regularly be 7 or 9, and we go out at 2, right? Like, I mean, that's the part I'm not saying, you want to get your full amount that you pay in your tax cap, which we all do, but I know I can't pass
That's
a
correct.
7% where I'm at. So even though to be fully funded, I need 7%, I go out at 2, and we eat at this where he's got his fund balance number there, we've been eating at that, you know what I mean, year in, year out, because I know that it's not gonna go over 2. Right, like, I mean, it's just, that's
right.
the reality.
The illusion of the 2%.
Yes,
Which-
for my community is not an illusion.
So
Yeah.
it is not, no, the general population in terms of voters are gonna say it's 2%, which what the 2% actually is the allowable growth factor, this
Yes.
bolded part in the calculation.
Yep.
And you're allowed to go up to the CPI or 2%.
2%, whichever.
So even though the CPI is well over 3.8 to 4, you still can't go to it. It prevents school districts from doing that. And that's what the cap actually is. So even, so let's just go, just to give a little bit of a history lesson here with Best Buy. We did extend this pilot 5 years ago, Central New York Bowling Alley. And so that did happen. We pushed it off thinking that legislation would actually get through the assembly and the house and into on the governor's desk and signed, which it did, but the governor on the 3rd time, this is now second governor, 3rd try, has said no. So that therefore it stays the way it is. Now we're past that. I don't know that that's ever going to come up again. I mean, this is where we are with it.
It's always the top 3 on the NISCUS lobby
Sure
items,
is.
you know what I mean? It's really,
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a,
But how long can we keep this up? I mean, 27, 28, we say, no, sorry. I mean, we can't keep this going forever.
and are you better off taking your hit while you're setting way over your 4% fund balance, or are you better off holding on to your, you know what I mean? So
Well, we won't be over the 4% fund balance.
At 12 million, you're not over 4%.
58 billion dollars.
At that year, in that year, it'll be well over 60, 62.
Well, I mean, healthcare's gonna go up a lot.
Yeah. When you negotiate your health insurance.
There you
plan,
go. Well,
then you
that's
start-
my meeting starting in 2 weeks. Exactly.
Not when you renegotiate that.
Right now,
plan,
it's
you
setting it
figure
up, right? Like, so, I mean,
We've successfully done that with our unions and we're actually in a pretty good spot
that's good.
financially. So that's not the worry. It's really the mechanics here. Just the other thing I want to add is that we did with Best Buy successfully get them off to the rolls over a 2-year period. Now that's a $300,000 pilot and we did
3 million.
not 3 million. So the step down approach did work with a small one like that. At 150 a year, the executives were agreeable to it. We went out and talked to them about it. They were great about it. And that worked. It was successful. I don't know how that works with $3 million. I mean,
Bigger steps.
What?
Bigger steps
No,
for
I
a
mean,
longer period of time.
How long a period of time? How do you do that? So this is the dilemma. I don't expect to, us to have any solutions or anything today that say we're going to do this. But we just wanted as a school district and the board of the school district wants to at least start the conversation so that we're on the same page and understand the problem and that we can start thinking about what we might do.
That's by far. the
There will
biggest.
be, but there's.
I can't remember Lockheed's. What's Lockheed's?
Keep down on the.
Kate's not there anymore, are they?
The helicopter one is
Doesn't
not?
impact- Yeah, but it doesn't impact the same way, and I can't remember the reason. for
And
that.
what about the solar panels? I mean, you
There
guys
was
are
a-
negotiating your own.
Well,
Wasn't the Lockheed's one at the zero,
Yes.
Yeah,
there's a zero, what do you wanna say, they're not, they're paying full.
they're paying the full market value in as a pilot,
Right.
whatever they're assessed at. they're
Right.
paying their- they're paying.
well, so it's Central New York Oil and Gas, but there's something specific with
Yeah, they're not. I can't remember what
Central
it
New York
was.
Oil and Gas has been paying 100% since.
Well, Fetcher's pilot
Years ago.
just came off, I
things.
believe, of that solar. farm across from the high school.
What, how big are you? You're only taking down a road so long,
That's right.
and if there's, it's 10 times what the Best Buy pilot was, and ratcheted that down over, what, a couple of years?
So why can't we do this one in 10?
Well, I think you can, but what happens to your fund balance is, everything points out, and I'm pretty, this school district stuff and all the magic, but if you
A lot of
got,
magic, tell them,
You
a lot of
got-
magic.
It is a lot of.
if you got 12 million bucks and, how does it affect that number if you push that out 5 years or 10 years or whatever it takes to get rid of it? Because I think at some point you wouldn't want to make another adjustment that wasn't the end game. You know what I mean? You don't want to just kick the can down the road one more time. We'd like to,
Have a plan for why we kick
let's
it.
get rid of the can.
Yeah.
So,
But, I don't know, without a lot more spreadsheet than I see here,
yes,
how it affects that year over year over year.
in a general sense, the way to think about it, let's just do a 10-year example. So that's about $300,000 a year. Let's just use that in general.
It's like the Best Buy for over 10 years.
Correct, right, same idea. So when you start that, let's say you start that in 26, 27 year. So in that particular year, $300,000 would come back on to the roll. So that would mean for us, a percentage on the levy for us is about it's $157,000. So 2% of the levy would cover that 300. And it would be, at least allow it so that it was coming on the levy in piecemeal. That makes sense, right?
Sure.
Now,
Then
what's
that's,
unaccounted for,
is any other pilot that comes due.
then there's another one. that
Because,
might come later,
the
correct?
300,000 fits just great with a 2% levy, but then you have another one drop out and
That's right.
that's going on. Again, can't keep kicking the can down the road. Sooner or later, we gotta face it.
But effectively, what you would do is you would, over that 10-year period, you would basically space it out
Plan.
and plan it that way.
So the
We
impact
would
is
have
not
to
as
find,
great,
right,
yeah.
wouldn't be as great in one
Yeah.
year. We would have to finance, and when I say finance, and what I mean by that is, in a long-term strategic way, look at reserves and look at our fund balance as a way to do that. Now, what's the unanswered thing about this is how it actually affects property taxes, because once, this is in the town of Nichols, is that where it is?
Yes.
No,
Town of Wingo.
Town
Town
of
of
Wingo.
Wingo. Oh, it is the town of Wingo.
It is the town.
Okay, so
Pretty sure.
that is going to affect how the property taxes in the town of Owego are gonna pay each of those years based on that coming off. And I cannot tell you exactly how that'll shake out, because the state gives
Well,
us
they're
our
gonna
equalization
share-
rates and figures that out.
Yeah, but they're also gonna share more of the levy. As they come on, they'll be sharing more of that levy and they won't have the deduct coming off the other side.
I would think that's right.
That's the way it's always been
That's
explained.
the way it has always been, because there's certain,
But
sometimes I get up some
yeah.
years, I'm like, how did that happen? You
Yeah,
know, like,
so that's the piece that gets funky, right? Like, I mean, I have two questions with this and I get where Bob's at. I do, I get it. But like, coming back to like, as a board, what is the purpose of a pilot, right? Like, why are we doing pilots? What is the purpose of the pilot? And then what are the responsibilities to the taxpayers of the county when you establish a pilot? And I think what he just brought up, Bob just brought up, is a great thing, right? Like, I mean, That's something we need to know, right? Like, what is the impact? Does it help people's taxes go down? Does it equalize taxes? What's it gonna do to it? Is it gonna raise taxes, right? Like, I mean, that's where, I mean, as a county board, right, like, that's a piece. I mean, I'm not a member, we go to town of Owego, but the county wise, it's gonna have impact across the board. So. And I don't know where we get those answers, because I'm like you, Bob. I mean, I make phone calls to people sometimes and I'm like, you know what, fiscal advisors, is that what you use?
Yes.
Or use for,
Yeah.
you use fiscal?
Yeah, we do.
So that might be a great thing just for a follow-up with this, like, you know what I mean? They would probably be the guys, if there's anybody out there that has a brain trust that can tell you what this.
Right.
Yeah, they definitely would, and I think that's a good suggestion, and I can certainly follow through with that, I can do that. I think, you know, for the school district, and I've been doing this long enough now, is that we need to be able to plan accordingly with whatever is decided,
Mhm.
and, you know,
Yeah. you
I
need a long range
gotta be
plan.
able to sleep at night knowing what this is gonna be, and that's, it,
Yeah.
right, so, like, how are we gonna work this? And
Yeah.
if it's gonna be a walk-off situation of 10 years, 15, whatever it is, then I need to know that. If it's gonna be one big chunk
Yeah.
in 1 year,
And you wanna be prepared as well.
then that's a public relations,
Conundrum.
I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
How to go about that. Maybe I think I was gonna go with Tracy to the Harris Diner and work through that.
I can handle this for you. Just make this go
So
away.
there's-
like the hard one.
There is one other thing
Tell 'em to
hanging
call.
out there, and that is the state, because they have been after IDA.
But they're not, they're ready.
And we need to see which way the wind is blowing this year. Cause they tried to come after us last year. And the attack is real. Working in a democratic state, and they do not like IDAs. The governor does not particularly like them, so we're gonna look at that. I would like to.
I heard her speak the other night. I hadn't figured out who she does like.
Who's what?
So I heard her speak the other night. I'm not sure who she does like.
I know.
But it's, the IDAs are under fire
They
and
are.
scrutiny about playing with this money.
They don't like pilots.
And they don't like us playing with,
Do not.
Well, that's the
like
only, I
pilots.
mean, I can't think of any other reason why they wouldn't sign legislation. It's common sense legislation.
yeah.
That's why.
See, I always try to figure out the money trail and I can't figure it out.
But, and see,
And I'm trying to figure out who's benefiting on the back end. I can't figure it
First of all, you
So-
cannot apply logic and common sense to the state's.
well, the state wants to control everything.
Like,
That's what.
With you, yeah.
But, I mean, these properties, full market, not full market value, just assessment before equalization rate of 114 million. And I think it's 3/4, as of last year, when you came last time, it was 3/4 of, I think, the pilots. Total pilots.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, again, solar probably plays into that now, we're not involved in a lot of those.
They're not that big though, like, I mean, those, from what I can see with those, they're gonna, those will happen, but they're small enough to where you can handle it. And so when I see those, I don't get real too excited about that.
Well, and
Um,
I think you have a great idea if we build, when you build pilots, to build them with a declining scale on the back end. If it's a 20-year pilot. The last 10 years, you start declining and putting some of that on the tax rolls year after year. So you don't get in these situations. I mean, our issue though is we've already extended this pilot once. Have you talked to them? Are they willing to extend?
we did not go down that, we started here first.
I don't-
And
I don't think they have a problem with extending it.
It's your family, they have.
They're gonna, yeah, I mean, it's not really, it's just who to write the check to.
They don't care.
Well, there's no equalization rates. They don't mess with that stuff, right?
It's who they're writing the check to.
They're already paying money.
Paying 50%.
Now it's just gonna go divided up different.
Yeah.
So I don't think they would. But we've already extended it 5 years and we didn't do anything with it. If we're gonna extend it again, we better get off the, let's figure out what we're doing and get it done.
Yeah.
Cause I don't
Yeah,
wanna
then
be
again,
here
I
10 years
say-
from now. Well, I won't.
Let's get some answers on a spreadsheet that show if we do this for 10 years, that it makes sense, and we're not sitting around the table 4 years from now trying to address it again.
This is it, yeah.
And as far as the other solar stuff, if we're not involved in them,
And we're not.
We're on the 10-year plan, like Bob says, and it's a 2% hit every.
it is, I can,
Can make that go away.
well, I can paint it out as decent as I can.
Yeah.
with the understanding that
Stuff happens.
a lot of stuff happens in there, and it's hard to say exactly how this would go. And I cannot do, I think with real accuracy, is predict how this is gonna go for the town of Wego. I can't predict that.
There has to be a way to get that done.
In predicting what it would, with no
Somebody's gonna be
utilization
able to
rates.
get that, those numbers are getting pretty darn.
That's
good.
what I'm saying,
And
yeah.
that- I'll talk to fiscal advisors.
Yeah,
too,
they're,
to kind of-
they're good. I mean, I'm sure they can extrapolate that.
And I don't know, what I also don't know, like, on a finance level, part of what we gotta ask is there a way for us, you know, where there's borrowing and ways to make this work? I mean, there's a lot of,
Have you looked at a tax surcharge account?
we have one.
When Bullcraft came off, I, Joe, close your ears a little bit. But tax surcharges used to make you whole in the absence of people not getting their taxes in or something going off, or something that's right. So we use that account as our step down.
Now, that's actually not a bad plan. So if we knew ahead of time, like, we say this is gonna be a 10-year arrangement, we have that at reserve. We can go that.
And that way you have that help there, and then you just pay it out of that tax surcharge account.
It's the same idea with health insurance, right? We have a health insurance reserve, same idea. A bad year comes, take from it in the reserve, and balance things out. So I look at this as a working relationship to figure out how to make this work so that we don't have to do this anymore.
I just wanna see Corey sell 19.38%. I'm going over the cap that year. I'm going 5 or 6.
You superintendent.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, I guess for me, love that will help, but it would be productive to see what those numbers look like and potential impact numbers to the taxpayers in the county, what that looks like as that steps off. If Fiscal can help us with that, they're great, John, and those guys.
How long does it take to put something like that together? you think?
With fiscal, not
Too.
not too long.
Why isn't it done yet? What are you doing?
They're winning football games, you know. The
I
football
really
team's
understand
tough.
panel hearing. Get that. So I think if that's a next step, that's not a problem. I can go back and take that step and maybe come back next month or January or whatever. And
I think we're willing to help. We just need to know how we can help and what we need to do to get it done. And then, like I said, we gotta not kick the can down the road. We gotta kick the can and with an idea, like Kevin said, what are we doing? Let's get it finished.
Yeah, we don't wanna spend our time on it, so we're gonna
Well,
spend time
get
on it,
ourselves
let's
in
spend
trouble.
time on it and solve the problem.
I agree. So I'll do that, and thankfully we have the Best Buy language from the last time to be able to, do this
Yep.
from the legal end, so.
Yeah, you can cut and paste it there, right? So, yeah. This will be all created.
Joe was billing us for the draft that he's gonna create 6 months from now.
I was trying to say something, but I got,
About it, it's the same.
are there any other questions or anything, clarification?
I think we're good. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much for your
Thank
time,
you.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you,
Good to see
Bob.
you.
Thanks.
Tell Corey we missed him.
I will tell him that.
Tell them a few other things.
Friday night is a home game.
Yeah, get it done, get it done.
You gonna be there?
Oh, yeah. Take care.
Take care. Thanks again.
All right.
You're on here.
Um,
All right.
approval of minutes, we'll have a chance to look at last board meeting's minutes, any discussion on those.
Move we accept them as written.
Motion for by Eric, second by Tracy, any further discussion?
Sorry.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Financials got sent out, I believe there might be a couple extras in.
Yeah, there's an extra, the final one you requested, the property
Okay.
loss was there.
Alright, so there's a P and L in here now for October as well as, year to date.
That was the one that came out today.
That, well, in this packet that I don't think was in the original email is transaction detail. In regards to activity over the course of October. Loans are normal, everybody's current up to date there, so we're set. Pilot money is in with the exception, I believe, of Best Buy still.
We just got it.
Okay, so we have all the pilot money in, so that will out over the course of the next month. So you'll see those funds in our earmarked account, and then the liability on the balance sheet side for that. And then, other than that, it's really been DRI, which we administer and send back bill, so.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm sorry, probably always here. What does it mean temporarily restricted cash account? That these are pilots?
Yeah, so there's,
That encumbered money that.
well, no, hold on, I'll go over this. So the 4.4, that is, even though it's labeled Owego Gardens, really that account title. It's been this way for as long as I've been on the board, really should just be our pilot account. The Crown Cork and Seal and Best Buy accounts are both predominantly dormant. I looked at Crown Cork, it hasn't been touched since 2021. Again, you got $100 in there and change. The other one's similar, you know,
It's just living there.
those accounts likely can and should be.
Close.
And then the account with the 4.4, which you're gonna have an offset, the liability for our pilot payments, really should just be titled pilot. Other than that, it's really the DRI money now, written, Casey do a great job. Top of that. Anybody else have further questions? Not, I'd look for a motion to acknowledge the financial statements.
Make a motion.
Second.
First by Marty, second by Eric. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Carried. Moves us to ED&P.
Since John mentioned DRI, I was just gonna give you guys a quick update on where those projects are. Just so you guys remember, the IDA is acting as the program administrator, but ECDEM's adminning the projects. It's for 15 different facade or building improvement projects for the Village of Owego Downtown Revitalization Initiative. So we were down to 10 projects left, and we just closed out 3 more, so we have 7 more to go. Yeah, we're getting there. Casey's getting there. She's been helping a ton. She's been doing, I think, 6 different progress payments, so that's a lot of the funds that'll be coming in or been going out that John's mentioning. We have probably 5 of them that'll finish up by the first quarter of 2025. And we have 2 that are pretty slow and 1 that has had no movement at all. So Joe, I might be reaching out to you on what we need to do with that one project. 4850 Lake Montreal. So
Contact.
yeah, I call them every week. So that's the one that's kind of slow, and the state's not gonna keep extending this. If we're finished with all the other projects, they're gonna close us out and lose its funds, but I just wanna make sure we're giving the appropriate notices of that. I think we have until January 31st. We're gonna extend that probably to June to finish out the other projects. And I guess we'll figure out where to go with that one project at that point. But they're moving.
You do hope to have all your final cost reports and stuff like that.
Yeah, by June, we really would like to wrap everything up if we can figure out this one project, so.
Good?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, thank you. In the new business, did get a facade loan application, so Brenda is here. The facade loan app was from, it's actually Hoffman Gearhart's real estate holding company. They've got a pretty expensive project. Again, our facade loan program is $20,000, so it's a it's a very small piece to what they have going on down there. Committee. Again, it's Coughlin and Gearhart, so you don't, the difference between this one and a lot of others that we've seen is you're not gonna have a personal guarantor attached to this. It's, you know, they're
So
listed
where is
partners.
the big project?
Lake Street,
Oh,
Lake
it is
Street,
the
and
Lake
Owego,
Street.
yeah, it's actually where Funny does. Times.
Oh,
So we only actually ended up getting invoices for windows.
That's 20,000.
I think that was 35. Yeah. But in regards to, financials, certainly very healthy. This is not a revolving loan fund, so you don't have funds available elsewhere test. It's probably the cleanest application I've seen since I've been on it. So again, $20,000. Joe that close would be second mortgage position behind Street Act. I believe Street Act was, they have 150 out there, Casey?
Yeah.
Street Act, yeah. So it'd be second behind Street Act.
Any motion to,
Yeah, I'd be looking for a motion to formally approve that as recommended by our committee.
the move we formally approve the, what was it,
20,000.
20,000 on the facade loan application. For Gerhard.
Coughlin and Gearhart.
Coughlin, Gerhard, so it moves very well.
John, is that an LLC? What entity owns it? It's gotta be real estate.
It's
Yeah.
Quaff Realty, yeah, technically Coughlin and Gearhart, I don't know. And that Quaff is for tax purposes disregarded within the financial statement, so.
CG properties.
That's what was said on it.
Quaff Realty is really, that's gonna be our mortgage. There could be a partnership again, just based on.
We have a motion. I got a motion, yeah. And a second? I don't have a second. I'll second.
Crazy second.
Go clean up the paperwork. We do, Joe.
Any further discussion on that? In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Everybody here,
This one.
do not leave this meeting.
You're,
I brought it.
You're the one.
came to my place and didn't have the form the last time.
Right.
It's always good. to
Well, and
know
I
who to
think-
blame.
I will take full ownership of something about it as well. We might want to do it.
Okay.
So I need to make sure I have,
Which it is.
Marty, Mary, Eric.
Don't put any weight on it.
Pass it
Right,
around.
so that. It is nice as the banker to know that there's another bank in town that's a bigger pain in the backside than we are. They will not allow any markups on this document. And even though it asks for your social and your date of birth, don't put it in there or else they'll reject. Eric and I. this meeting on
That's
that
where
one.
we did, yeah.
Well, I marked up on the front also, so I double. missed
Blue
it.
pen or black?
So. W one, two.
I'm under a lot. I can listen and sign it.
Alright, so that takes care of it, nothing we need to vote on there. very site engineering proposal. So in the packet that was emailed, there was a lot of pages on 3 different proposals we have received for Lounsbury. Now, Brittany, did we get confirmation that we can use the most recent grant that was approved as our match? Are we
Maybe.
not sure yet?
Not sure yet, I'll check on that.
What's our, do you know, off the top of your head, I'm putting you on the spot, what our total grant funding is? Two.
For the USDA, it's like 90,
That was the bid, that was the one we just got.
yeah, and I'll check on it. I say it was like. Or it was like a
I
25,
think it was 25, 26, 26, something like that.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
yeah, so 26 and then 50%.
We've got 3 proposals, hunts. And I have a little bit of a soft spot for them right now because they really, we've gone back and forth with Hunt now for months.
Yeah, a while.
And they really helped adapt the RFP for us to customize basically the pot of money that we had. Fagan, and then major engineering, which I don't think we've seen responding to the RFP. Elaine's gone through those, you guys have all gone through.
Casey and Elaine. went down there, yeah. I think, let me speak up Casey, but I think they felt like Fagan and Hunts were pretty comparable. Didn't feel as comfortable, just because we have worked with major engineering before, I don't think there's as much of a team around them. And less experience. Yeah.
Basically, they're gonna be doing a whole slew of site assessment work at Buck Road. It's a total, is it 3 sites?
It has Buck, and then you guys have like a smaller, very, like 5-acre parcel. There that they'll look at too, but it's mostly the bigger sites, the 10 and the 20 acre.
They're gonna do studies on topography, sewer, water, all your utilities, geotech. Like access, I think, were the one that's kind of the creek.
Going to, are we gonna form a subcommittee? We taking a recommendation?
Yeah, that's up for discussion, really. I think the idea here is we probably do want to get moving sooner than later because the one grant, the smaller of the 2 grants, has been sitting out there for quite some time and I believe is set to expire next year.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly when we might be able to get that extended, but
I mean, it's not huge, you know what I mean? Some, but it's the only some we have, so.
the maximum amount of money out of pocket to the IDA on this is the smaller of the 2 grants being a match, 26,000. Thankfully, Fred's office was able to chase down that 90-some thousand, which really takes the sting out of this. So proposals out there are all, actually, Fagan's and Hunts are like within lunch. Within $100, roughly $100,000.
I mean, they cost that stuff out, they know exactly what it costs them to do that stuff, so. I mean, I've always had good experience with Hunt, I mean, Fagan was good to work with, we worked with him for a long time. You know, sometimes good, sometimes bad, but we worked with them.
One of those is you and the other one.
I should find the secretary, it says secretary.
Now we'll be doing this again next month.
Yes, yes.
That's the one that.
Yeah.
was really fun.
Looks like she drew the arrows.
I'll put it in a 3-person committee and make some phone calls and talk with people.
When did they want to start? Could they start?
I mean, I think, do you remember Casey with the RFP? I think we said about a week or so after your board meeting, we can let them know. I mean, longer if you guys want to make it.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was, but I checked my heart. I just know that both of them were like around, so it was gonna take them around 6 months.
They're comparable, they're gonna do seeker work. Well, for environmental. Really, I think it does boil down to whether or not we want to do one to try, which I believe we use.
We use them a lot on our end.
Go around this big.
Who's Fagan?
We use Fagan for regards
With
to.
regards.
We had issues.
all around.
Yeah.
But that was
That
a
was just
nightmare.
It was just, yeah, you can't really put it on one
And when
person.
we sent this out, right, and when we sent this out initially, we went with Hunt because we were still fatigued. A little less fatigued now.
You might see.
Turn back and stuff.
Yeah, right.
I'm kind of
I'm not gonna be.
I'm a
with
bitter
you.
son of a gun most
Yep,
of the
me
time,
too.
so.
That I've used
Not a
them
very
on
good
school
forgiver.
building projects and that they always put them.
And who's the third one?
Major
And I've never used those.
which I believe was out of Johnson City.
And we have is there stuff in here or no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there's
sent
this.
it, and then there's also a paper copy. There's just one though. Megan and, Major Engineering use like new technology for everything, where the only thing different is Hunt doesn't use the new technology. So that was her only concern.
That was the drone stuff.
Mhm.
Technology.
Drone.
Kind of new
Yeah,
technology.
it's like a drone.
Oh, so not AI.
No, not AI.
They actually shoot it.
You have numbers from these people?
Yes, it's 100. 100,000 from Fagan,
Oh, 100,000.
Yeah, literally.
And the rules on like a bid process like this.
Specialty services.
well, we've sent it out for bid. These are the folks that responded. Generally, we want to have at least 3. We have our 3.
But with specialty services, right, Joe? This professional services.
That's 99, I think it's 99.
So even though Joe bills a lot more than other people.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, so you're the-
Jump in and protect me anytime you want.
This one was,
Catch your bag, Joe. This one's the highest too.
tomorrow morning.
Why is it team?
So they're a lot.
So if you go with Hunt, you're technically going with a little bit also by 15 bucks. Literally $15. They got that home right in.
Broken down to that.
It is.
Good.
It's broken down, no, they all broke. Like I said, I think our board packet ended up being what, 80-some pages? It's mostly these bid packets. So I guess the decision on the table is if people are okay making a recommendation and a vote on this today, or if you want to table it to further review these docs.
Let's do it.
Why wait?
Yep. I moved that we accept the low bid, which is about.
Motion, Mayor, does that have any further discussion on that? If not, I will, ask, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? We'll engage Hunt. Which is good, because we've been talking about that for a long time. We know Miss Tinney was pushing hard to get that moving.
So you waited till the meeting, she was gone, and then you pushed it through. There you are.
Huh.
I admit to none of that. Okay, item D. Maureen, you're so-
Oh, yes.
You're so.
Okay, so we got this call from Tony Signorelli from New York State Department of Transportation. The railroad crossing in Richford is poor condition and hazardous. They have no control over it. He's getting a lot of complaints when they plow, for example, in the winter. They're very concerned that their plow gets stuck because it's quite loose in there. They've repaired what they could, but this is really not their job. So he wanted me to reach out to the county and to have the county, go ahead, put your phone. Say again,
Which one?
Which one?
both, that would be the.
One on 38 and the one on
38, we're
79?
38 and 79, and that's Richford, and then one in Newfield, 38.
New Hartford, New Hartford. Must be New
Do
Hartford.
something and.
That would
Um,
be the end.
But it's all 38, it's all on the.
Yeah, it's all on
north end of the
38.
line.
Yeah, and he says there's not a lot of traffic there, but it's, the rails are still there, the crossing is still there.
So the only three that would be up there is doing Richford, 3879, and then when you cross, what's that, 221?
They know which road you're talking
Go
about.
to
They
the
must be up
gas-
there.
go
'Cause
to
they
the
must,
gas
they had,
depot.
for the DOT to be involved, they've gotta be state roads. It's gotta be the one in Richford and I'm not as familiar with
There's
that.
two at Richford, where they're crossing for 38 and 79.
Was it
79, where
It would be on our line. Up that way.
Isn't it the state's? It's on the state road.
So their road crosses our road. Or our
Our railroad crosses their road.
Potato,
Whatever
potato.
You betcha.
And a few years back, they did the one in Berkshire, you know, when. Oh, Sidewells.
Well,
Steve
at
was
any
still- it was
rate,
Steve that was still owner at that time, or, you know. We used to at that
Britt,
time.
Britt did reach out to our contact at RJ.
They're looking into,
Sent their engineers. It sounds like they know it's a step in the eye.
he wanted the county to encourage them to get moving.
All right, so we've notified the folks,
proper authorities.
and what other push do we have as far as releasing line? What other push do we have, Joe? No, we got none. Okay, so we're moving on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Couple of shovels and
and maybe,
truckload of
Tony's a
coal patch, right?
Is that a motion?
No.
Be careful what you volunteer yourself.
You're
fixing.
I'm not an engineer.
From college, man, I know a lot of stuff I
It
should
sounded
know.
like it was rubber or something. It wasn't asphalt. They're trying to fix rubber with asphalt. I'm not that,
So
sharp on
working-
stuff like that, but it doesn't sound like it's working.
Yeah, the rubber's great until it fails, and then it's,
It doesn't last forever, right?
nothing lasts forever.
Promise. Marcia, Keachel, this is new business. It's not on our agenda, but we'll pass through these real quick.
Surprising us.
This is not a big surprise. Hey, Marcia comes and does it tomorrow. This is our depot update for the year.
Oh, yeah, she usually does this.
Yes.
And she kills it, if I recall.
What last time she
Yeah.
came in?
sure.
Sure.
Thanks.
She gave us lots of
I'll do
reports.
that. Hey, that Apple Fest was pretty great. I know that's good.
Depot Friday nights have done well and they've been, I think, done increasingly well since we pulled out the COVID, so. They're very thankful. We did give them some money this year to, upgrade some.
Decks.
Deck,
Decks
yeah,
out
yeah.
back inside, I believe, capital improvements they needed done.
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
So, yeah, at your leisure, any questions? I can get you in contact with Martin. Don't know of any other requests.
What's crazy to me
Thank
is
you.
these ladies in North Valley, they're all like ancient. Who's gonna do this when they're gone?
There's a lot of that going around.
I did ask when we had Leanne's thing up there, Marcia, right? Yeah. I did ask her, I said, well, what, you know, what's something like this cost? I was doing it thinking, well, you know, we're right up the road and
Maybe low.
we do something a lot. So I quit at that point. It was a lot. But you know, I thought it might be something that you could have on a Friday night dinner or a Tuesday night dinner, you know, put a little money in the coffers and.
Yeah.
Anyway, I might approach that.
You'd have to charge a lot to make it. Cost a lot. The food costs so much, right?
Evidently, it's a lot.
But if it was a lot or a lot more. All right,
Good, alright. Two items
So-
under old business, neither of which requires any votes. Item A is our friend Mr. Sportwood up in Berkshire. He is $100 off making his full lease payment. And the second item was the 5-year lease agreement extension was approved from Mr. Emick of that also north end of the line. Sign? Yeah. So I think that's a done deal. Any questions on either of them? Committees, audit, we're on hiatus until next year. Governance committee, we had some notes go out, trying to set up a quick meeting before the next meeting ideally, just to start the process of making sure everybody's got ample time to go through all of our policies for annual policy review.
Ask a question.
Yes.
Do we, as an IDA board, have to take some special training every couple of years?
That is actually Britt brought that up the other day.
Because I don't think we've done that in a very long time.
I don't know if there's a way that
we've done, it's very well trained.
And where?
They email it,
To
like,
train.
you have to take it every 3
Nobody
years,
can
the
train.
authority budget office training, and you have to sign your fiduciary duty.
Big
Um,
stuff for the government,
then they
county,
kind of have a spreadsheet.
charity, bill.
You sign up with your own emails, so they'll send you guys emails with, as proof that you took it. So if you don't have it, you should probably have.
Yeah, I know.
That's what triggered me.
Right.
Because I don't remember taking it here or any.
What is it, the same thing they have to take for the county?
No, no,
This
it's,
is a
it's,
board
it's,
fiduciary.
it's, right, it's like a public authority
Yes, it is.
training, and it's online. I did it last year because I'm on the LDC board and Becca pushed us through, but
Did this
Well, that would,
years
that
ago.
would probably.
Authority.
And so,
What the heck
and.
is this? The name of it?
You just take
I
it.
can
Something
send you
board
guys,
of authority,
we
authority
have
board,
like
or-
2 upcoming dates and
Has authority.
just
in it.
register
Okay.
for it. They have limited spots, but they do like 2.
Okay,
you'll learn a couple things. It's, they go through Paris and
hmm,
Good to know.
I remember we had to go to Ithaca to work with Ralph. It was an excursion. And we had to sit in this room. I don't know if you remember that. And we had to sit there and listen to the presentation. There was no digital stuff. It's very painful. But it was interesting because we were with Ralph. So,
Did we get to eat? We get to eat or drink.
It costs a lot.
you know, we didn't
Costs
get
a
to-
lot.
thank you for bringing that up, because that is actually
So somebody will get an email out.
saying necessary.
The reason I remember it is because I have to do it for the land bank. I just got that email.
All right. Finance committee, just want to get a note out between now and the end of the year, just a quick review of what we've got out there for CDs, maturity dates, all that stuff. We don't have to have it together for that. Loan committee, we went through this in previous business, talking about the Quaff Realty request for 20,000. Item 2 bulleted, I don't know if folks have heard this or not, but Bryant Myers is resigning from REDAC,
Where's it going?
going back to BNS.
Yeah.
It's a generation.
Generation. He probably went for big money.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure.
Well, and I'm sure he's got plenty of headaches with George Minor. He retired officially in
Yeah.
July,
Yeah.
maybe getting asked to come back, I don't know. Temporarily at least. I don't know when Brian's last day is.
I think it was this week?
It was today, I think, the 6th.
Yeah. So, I think the only impact that has on us is, we do have an agreement in place for underwriting help through them if we need it. I think we're on our own until they get stabilized, which we can need.
What does Brian do?
Vice president.
I was gonna say, I think he was like the operations manager for the local.
Yeah,
for the
probably
local
is.
site.
Big jump, unless, you know, I don't know.
Lot. Evidently.
I don't think there's anything in our materials, but Vita reached out to Ritz's office here in the last couple of weeks. Again, since I've been on the board, Vita has not had a loan application, I don't believe, because
It's been a long time.
unbeknownst to me, they use us in our paperwork,
Yeah, we do the.
you know,
But
so
it's been.
the
I say
agreement,
it's
they
been
dug
all
up the
of 5
agreement.
years.
It has not been updated in 15 years, and I think it could use a little
Wow,
freshening.
wow.
That's the one I was able to find easily. I didn't, but I don't think it's been updated.
It hasn't been updated since I've been up. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of in current setup is I have no problem with them using our paperwork. I have no problem with us providing underwriting support. No problem working with their loan committee, but as it's written right now, it says that we make their final decision, which I don't understand why we would make the final lending decision on a pot of money that we
Should
don't.
be a recommendation.
Correct. If we don't administer it, we don't control the money. So I think that just needs to be.
My recollection is they have, when we've done loans with them, they have minor development.
They have no involvement?
Just, you know, other than writing a check. Other than that.
When I think some of the projects that, again, this is all predates me, I think sometimes we're involved with our revolving fund as well.
Yep.
So that works good, but again,
That's what all my experience with. Joint.
joint, yes. You know, it's
But
their
we
pot of
take,
money,
but we take the lead.
which I have no problem, again, you know, if we're involved, but at the end of the day, I'd like them to less. More to follow on that. Nobody's formally applied though.
No, Casey sent the applicant, your guys' application.
Mhm, but I sent it mostly just for, if they were gonna apply through you guys, I will rephrase my email now and tell them that they can use the same application, I guess, for Vita, but I didn't do that originally.
I'm gonna send Joe what you dug up from 2009 and I think we can use most of it, just a couple cleanup items in there. Nothing to update other than, again, you can see in the P and L in there, they continue to have more volume on the line, which is good. It's very good.
Very nice.
He made a video,
Adam,
Adam, and you can see the shredding material being dumped into the train cars. It was good. It was good to see that happening.
cleaned up a little bit between that spot and Norfolk Southern. Building. Pilot updates, sales tax exemptions, Best Buy. Sorry, thank you. Best Bev, their fees still outstanding.
The most recent one.
Yeah.
So we haven't issued the new agreement yet.
We're in contact with them. They've at least been providing updates, but they also. 231 Main, been in contact with them. I believe everybody's within their thresholds. Season 2 has been provided paperwork, so that one should fall off. You sign that?
Not sure yet. Season 2, they're closing. Season 2,
Loveless.
Lovelace's, they're closing. You guys are doing the bill of sale.
Yeah, I think we've done it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
been issued. It's been issued.
I'll
I
check, but
signed
it's,
on our behalf. I just don't know if it's fully executed.
It's just a matter of sending.
That one will fall
It's
off.
just a fiction transaction.
Right.
You give us
Right.
a bill of sale with your equipment, and at the end of the exemption, we give it back.
Right. Right. For these.
But we don't have Chris, we don't have like a sit down.
Right. Our got extended last month, we approved that, so again, everybody's within their thresholds there. Joe did draft his letter to respond to our comptroller's office regarding the last item for.
Was that what you were looking for? I mean,
Hey, if it appeases them, it's, I think that's
the
really,
way I look.
that's
We-
the idea.
As long as they have something.
I mean, again, we're not talking tremendous amount of money, and again, I think the foundational issue is the state has changed the way they assess
Right.
those properties.
How would we know? You know,
So if they respond further, then we'll take it from there, but I think at this point, we have appeased the comptroller's office with everything that came back. School pilots, again, we talked about this a little bit, going over financials, those will all go out between now and the next meeting, so that'll.
You have, them, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very good.
Kinder Morgan is Central New York Oil and Gas. We have been reached out to by them in regards to the same pilot that Mr. Farrell was here talking about. Really no meat in the correspondence. So they want to talk about the pilot too.
We talked about, it was in the correspondence last time, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
but there's something going on evidently.
there's no meat in this. It's just that, again, it's a big number, I think, for everybody. Everybody realized it's coming off. So I think having the discussion with them may change the narrative as to school districts concerns. More to follow on that, but.
Have we made any contact back with them since they asked?
We've acknowledged their receipt because it came into Christine's email.
And I emailed them confirming again if they wanted to extend their
Yeah.
pilot, like they said before, and then they emailed me, yes, see the below email,
Which said they didn't want to talk about it until next year.
until summer.
All right, very good.
And then Sun East, again, this has been ongoing forever, but it does look like that is moving forward.
This the one on the turnpike?
Yep. And all our paperwork's set, right?
well, we've done all the initial steps, resolutions, public hearing.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna-
We haven't started on the actual docs. It's not gonna take that long.
Yep.
But I've made a couple of calls to Young and Sumner. Spoke to Jim Anyway, he put me in touch with another fellow, and I talked to that other fellow last year,
Mhm.
but he hasn't gotten back.
Again, it's,
This was Friday, so
I don't know how much progress they're gonna be able to make up there, being that we're in November.
yeah,
See any activity.
and the big thing,
70 degrees today, I think it's.
That's true, but
big thing
big
to
project.
do would,
It is.
would be for us to get it done before March 1st. You
Well,
know,
they started doing stuff up there. They've got stuff. Material and
They do.
machines and yeah. My brother lives there. I gotta hear about it. So, yeah, they're doing.
It must be far back, 'cause I can't see it
Yeah,
from
it's
the
way up-
road.
yeah,
I
way
can't
up
see
on
it
the
from
top.
road.
Started at the top, I think, and they're working their way down. Clearing land, cutting down trees.
They ended up, when we originally started talking about this in 2021, I don't believe there was discussion that they were gonna buy that property. And I believe they did buy it,
They bought at least part of it.
part of it back in May from Rollins,
Yeah, they bought Rollins, but I don't think
not all of it.
Les Wagner's not selling this property. And they're going around the corner over onto, I don't know who owns it now, it used to be Helmer's. This thing is huge.
It's huge, it's the
This is
biggest, it'll be the biggest solar project. in
Do you know where,
Right in between the NICEAG substation, moving all the way up to the old El Rancho.
right behind Bill Burrell's house?
Yep, it'll be surrounded.
Yep. Like I said, my brother's not pleased. I have to hear.
And again,
gotta be all in on a Green New Deal.
we've been told it is not our job at the IDA to disincentivize those projects. That is the municipality's job. That is correct.
Finger slap there.
Project updates, so
Railroad Row.
our shacks are down. That did get a little reaction that poor Britt had to deal with, that I don't think anybody was counting on. Mr. Wonder, who I don't know, you know,
The rent garage.
he still does, no, he still does.
Who is it? Bill?
Bill
Bill,
Wonder.
yeah,
Billy.
yeah.
Where does he live?
He lives over on, McLean. But his dad passed away. And it was his dad's father that owned the property, Ernie.
House up front.
So he's saying it was his property?
Our lease, it goes back to 1994. And it references that it's for vacant land. And see Exhibit A, which is a survey from 1950 or 1951.
He wasn't even born yet.
So clear as mud. I've told Brett if you'd like, we will work on drafting a new lease that's a little bit more up to date. But he
So,
thought that he had access to one of said buildings that is now in a dumps.
A seven
well, that
by
pretty
seven.
much alleviates all the access problems.
There was an access problem. Larry Pierce, I went down and talked to when he was doing that. He spent way more time getting back to that and clearing out scrub brush and trees than he did taking down the buildings.
Sometimes it happens.
If you want to
Take
reference,
my advice, it had all been burnt and it would have been no problem.
that lease document was for January 1st, 1995 through December 31st, 1995, and it's been month to month ever since. It was vacant land. He's not giving me a hard time. I just think he was just trying to understand.
Well, there's nothing in the buildings or was there
He said
stuff?
there was probably just some old chains, just like random. He said he hasn't used it in a long time. I don't really know if it's
It's-
clear who owned it.
It's over now, right?
Is over.
And we clearly own it.
Oh, yeah, I
But
mean.
we just paid to have it here.
I'm just thinking, yeah, if somebody else owns it, let's send a bill there.
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna get out of that.
No.
All right, so that's over with.
All right. We got.
Larry brought himself a big machine down there to take those buildings down, I can tell you that.
He did.
I did see him when he was starting on the first little one going down the driveway.
Larry's always got ideas, he said we should clear that all out.
Well, it's hard to hang tarps if it's cleared out.
Well, that's just it. Again, how much money you want to spend to keep everybody
It
safe.
cost us $5,000 to get rid of tarps once.
We are now up to, we're pushing 20 grand on trying to keep the homeless out of there at this point.
And we're gonna spend another bajillion dollars right over here.
Mm-hmm. County or IDA?
Yeah, 'cause we're here, the old foundry property.
I thought that got cleared out.
It got cleared out, but all the stuff's still in there. Cause it's the county, so we got all kinds of paperwork we gotta go through in order to do anything.
It's a nightmare.
If they just let me go in there,
Oh,
Moving on to grand updates, are we?
Yeah.
grant update.
Now we're just making ourselves feel better about 20 grand.
Here we go, we're good.
Mary said she'd go help me too.
I feel better about having some dinner. Carry on.
Richford Railroad, I know we got a new invoice, and is he presenting here pretty soon?
He said he's gonna be done the next couple of weeks, so if you guys wanted him to come. December.
It becomes the question, when he's done. Then what's the next step?
I think funding, if the IDA is gonna fix that, or if it's RJ Foreman.
Are you talking, we're still talking about a mile of track?
Talking about the bridge
Yeah, but that entailed a mile of track going on.
going up.
Oh.
Well, yeah, we ended up having to settle the lowest level fix because of that. But we don't know cost wise.
He doesn't have.
That's the big piece. Is we have no clue. We know what our costs are to get this study done. But we have no idea what.
We have to do an engineering.
It's probably gonna make sense to have him come back and bring RJ Corman in. That way we at least put a bow on that part for us.
Once you figure out what it is actually that's gonna happen there, my last knowledge of it was they were talking of raising a mile of track so they could raise the piece that went over the track.
And it's like,
And I think that's insane, but I said that before and it's happened.
Does this have anything to do with beaver?
No beavers.
No, it's just-
It's different.
but
It's different.
there's money involved, and it's a lot.
Yeah, well, it's railroad.
It's usually a lot.
All right.
Be involved with it, a lot.
Item B, we beat up earlier, that was our proposals, we're making progress, we're moving forward. Hunt. ESD, Raymond Hadley, we're just looking to get paid, getting our grant money in. No updates on D.
Yeah, there's an update. They closed.
Did they really close? So I had heard that they were having some issues, so that might be a done.
It's not an issue. They just decided to close the doors. Everything is still there.
Reed Brook,
But they don't need to increase their capacity.
But yeah, it's not a capacity thing. I think probably that's unless there's something I don't know. And I just know the family just play football.
They're not doing anything even for just, you know,
They're not
under
doing anything. I
here.
even asked if they were.
So I was wondering, seriously, if we think,
No,
you know,
I did hear that Zach's son, one of the sons, was. It mentions something about wanting to do something there, so, and Ian's not gonna sell him land and or the buildings, I think it's all right to buy his
A lot
house.
of infrastructure there, because they went through big
USDA,
facility upgrade
Yeah,
to make it USDA.
yeah, basically, it was,
they can get licensed.
yeah, they were just spinning his wheels. Like I said.
I think there was a
No
nobody's
problem.
bringing them any meat to get butchered. That's a
Well,
problem too.
We've been dealing with the federal government on that, and making some progress, so.
But I think maybe that's worth a call, but it's probably something that comes off the to-do list.
Yeah, we that go away.
I might be wrong, I wish I was wrong, but, I don't think.
Logic, item E will sit out there until next year when, work can get going. USDA, that's our IRP funding. No updates on that. USDA, item G will have some updates, because I see some paperwork passed across my computer today, so.
Mhm.
What's next steps on that? We gotta just bless that.
We wanted you guys to look at it, make sure it's good, and then I think the decision is, initially we had businesses that, when we submitted the application, that were interested, and I think probably want to give them a first pass at applying to the program and going through your loan committee, or if you want to open it up to everyone right away.
So maybe we can just schedule a quick call with loan committee just to review the materials between now and next meeting.
Know what the guidelines are.
So this is a program that the county's been involved with in the past, but it's always been facilitated by, our county
Well, economic.
area partnership. It's the same program.
Same program, yeah.
In essence, someone wants to buy a piece of machinery, they can go through this program, structured as a lease. Instead of re-owning it, it would be the IDA that would own it during the duration of the lease.
Private owners, not municipalities.
This would be private businesses, you know, right, sole proprietors.
Capital
LLCs,
lease.
Yeah,
60-month dollar buyout kind of stuff, or
exactly, yep.
no
Yep,
residual
yep.
value.
No, we're not gonna take, we're not gonna want the stuff at the end, again, you negotiate a buyout at the end, probably for a buck. Structure the lease to be economic useful life of the equipment. The challenge is it needs to be pre-funded.
Yeah.
The way this is at least structured initially is to put the burden on the end user,
Yeah, the business, we,
which historically we had done that
until,
until we had a problem.
Mhm. 'Cause
So I like that. The way that this is structured, I only had a chance to really briefly look at the paperwork. Whoever was awarded money in this program would would guarantee it. So that we couldn't have people walking away on us. Like happened with the last time, though. We don't get into that, but, you do have to pre-fund it. So, it's a $50,000 piece of equipment. Somebody's gotta come up with 50 grand to get it bought and installed. And once it's installed, you could then submit to the USDA for reimbursement. But there is a bridge.
See if front of it.
So this is strictly plant equipment or rolling stock or anything? That makes a difference, you know, something you stick in a plant usually sits still and doesn't disappear, rolling stock.
Not rolling, I've never done rolling stock with this program. I'm trying to think of the 3 things we've done.
And they did one with Reed Brook for some of their great freezers, and
Yep. We did.
a brewery. Yeah.
Was that
There was some-
the water purifying system ended up?
That was a different one. There was another brewery that they did before that.
The farmhouse got money for that initially.
Yeah.
Reed Brook. There's a company in Nichols that got money for that too. I can't
And
remember exactly.
TRC.
All right, so that's,
It's a good program, but again, I think we gotta put a few safeguards in there, guarantees, but
all these options out there.
in essence, these folks would, it's really, a roundabout way to get 0% money. Any other questions? Anybody else have anything else?
Oh, motion moving executive
As I
session.
say, I'm gonna look for a motion to move into executive. I've got a couple of personnel issues regarding specific individuals we want us to talk about.
Okay.
I got a motion. Second. Right?
Thank you, sir.
Have a good evening.
Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah, Mary wants to leave us.
No wonder you're volunteering for everything.